Welcome to WagerTalk TV. I'm Kelly Stewart, joined by the man of many nicknames, number one in profit at WagerTalk, Ace, Yanni the Greek Karalis, and VR, as I like to call him. VR, I'd like to start off by asking you a little background on yourself for any potential audience members who have been living under a rock all these years.
It's been a long road, Kelly. I started off on the other side of the betting side. I booked. That eventually got me dealing with sharp bettors, which turned me on to betting for these sharp bettors. So I stopped bookmaking and started betting. And since then, it's been that continuous road of providing outs for bettors who win long term and also learning how to win myself because it's been a long road. And even though I've had access to winning information and have bet for winning bettors, I came out to Vegas in 96, 97 as a runner. So I was betting winning stuff back then. But to be completely honest with you guys, I haven't been a winning bettor myself until the last 8 to 10 years. Like that's where it finally all clicked. It all began to make sense. I now know I can beat the market. The sport is irrelevant. I'm looking at the market itself, and I'm able to repeat that process, rinse and repeat over and over again. And it's provided some good results. Now, early on, it didn't. When I started pick selling, I'm sure there were years I didn't win at all, for sure, for sure, for sure. It's hard enough to win for yourself, but then to win for others, it's even harder to give them a play that still has value, maybe after a line moved or after you bet it. That's another art in itself. So that took some time. Once I grasped that concept and was able not just to win for myself and win for others, since then it's been great. I joined with you guys at WagerTalk 3 years ago. I turned a profit every single year. The site's been up there now 5 or 6 years. I'm already number 2 all-time in profit, number 1 in CFL, golf, NASCAR. None of those are my own bets. Number 2 in college football, NHL, soccer, combat sports. Half of those are my bets. And number 3 in NFL, half of those are my bets coming off 1 year. So as you can see, I only give myself credit for the most half of the stuff that I release to my subscribers because I'm fortunate enough to work with other winning groups and bettors who share their stuff, and I'm able to see it and then pass that along once I still agree that there's value enough for my guys to bet it. And it's turned out well for us.
Yes, it has. VR, of all the handicappers across our brands, we get a ton of questions about your betting style in particular, and that is because you're a volume bettor. Can you please explain to everybody what exactly a volume bettor is?
Yeah, if you're a new bettor and you get my subscription and it's like on a Saturday and there's 4 or 5 sports going on, you're probably like, oh my God, where do I start? Because think about it. If there's 4 or 5 sports, 4 or 5 markets, and I even just get 3 plays per sport, 3 good bet plays per sport, that's 15 bets. Now, maybe 3 of them will be best bets, but that's a lot of volume. But that's my goal because once you have an edge, whether it's blackjack, whether it's sports, then the goal is to get as much money into play as possible. That's the only way that edge is going to materialize into profit. Now, if you don't have an edge and you bet volume, you're going to get crushed. With all that said, if you are going to bet volume, there's going to be a lot of variance and swings, which is why I always urge, especially new bettors, you shouldn't start off, especially if you're working with me, where you piggyback everything I share. I mean, for someone that wants low volume, I always tell them, just look at the best bets, 4%, 5% plays. Over the last 365 days, I've only given 1,000 of those, about 1,050. It's about 3 a day, 3 bets a day on average. And the production has been number 1 in profit in those plays. So you don't have to bet everything. Now, to be number 2 all time in profit, it took all those plays. So again, that's the difference, that if you bet low volume, it takes you longer to get to the long term. That's the only thing that changes, other than obviously you need more of a bankroll. If you don't have the bankroll for volume, if you don't have the tolerance, the risk tolerance for volume, then you should not be betting any kind of volume. It's not going to be fun for you. You should be very selective and know that it's going to take a while for you to accumulate a profit, because the edge isn't great, guys. That's the biggest takeaway you need to realize. That's why I don't sell packages every day. Like if I only have 2 plays, I'm not going to put that in a package unless it's a best bet, because the edge isn't great enough for it even to make sense for you. And here's what I mean by that. The MIT card counting crew had a 1.5% edge over the house. 1.5%, that's all they had. And they made movies and wrote books about them. How big do you think your edge is going to be over the sports book? They already have a 4.5% edge. So you have to overcome that. So you got to overcome 5% before you're even in profit. So how great are you? How sharp are you? Are you the sharpest guy on the planet? You have a 10% edge? Okay. So you overcame the 5. That gives you a 5% edge. That's awesome. You're amongst the 0.1% bettors on the planet. Now, let me tell you what that means. That out of every $500 you bet, that's about $25 in profit to you. That's what that bet is worth. So you got to bet $500 for your ROI, for your EV to be 25 bucks. Now, if you're betting 1 game a day, even if you're betting 500 bucks, that's $25 when you're winning long term. Now you're thinking, no, it ain't, Ace. That's $500. No. You're not going to win every bet. Over the course of 100 bets, if you're lucky, you're going to be 55%. So let's do the math. Let's add some VIG. You're after the hold, again, you're making around $25 per bet if you're lucky and profitable. That's why I tend to like more volume, because I'm fortunate to have sources that I know for certainty win in their sports. So I want to share that info with my subscribers. If you don't bet golf and you don't like to handicap golf, or there's no reason for you to even look at the golf when I send that out. That's winning a golf from a group that wins in golf that I'm betting because I know they win long term. But if you're not interested in it, there's no reason to bet it. Again, your long term, whether you bet 1 a day or the whole card, the difference is going to be in how long it takes you to realize the true ROI. That's it. I don't mean to make it harder than it needs to be, but again, I know a lot of bettors get overwhelmed when they see volume, and you should welcome it because now it gives you choices. And again, if you don't want to spread out your action, simply look at the lowest risk, highest probability of cashing, and that's best bets, 4%, 5% plays. There won't be a lot of them, but you won't have the variance or the roller coaster ride that you're going to have if you bet volume. Because again, you'll turn profit long term. You'll be number 1, number 2, number 3 in every sport, but it's going to be a hell of a ride to get there. And a lot of bettors, most bettors aren't cut out for that. You see it in day trading, you see it in crypto. Most people just aren't cut out for this type of investment. And when you're sports betting, you're ultimately a day trader. We make these bullshit things like, oh, we're investors. And dude, investors invest for long term. Sure, we look to win and profit long term, but your decision making is instant, like a day trader. Games are going off every 10 minutes. In NBA, MLB, it's every 24 hours. We have 15 new games to bet from. So you got to be ready to short or long a side immediately, or the value's gone. And again, for most people, forget bettors, just most human beings, they can't tolerate that. So if you're not cut out for it, don't go heavy into volume. Again, the profits are there, but that's only for seasoned veterans. I always say that's for experienced traders. If you're an experienced trader, then work volume. Or if you've built profit with me for 2, 3, 4, 5 years, bet volume. Otherwise, stick to the best bets, man.
That's I do like the best bets. That is, no, absolutely. That's what I always tell is your 4 and 5%, especially in the UFC. You know, I love those barking dogs that you come up with. I will say something that I'd like you to touch on before we end this video. You mentioned being a high volume bettor isn't for everyone. But if they are going to bet your stuff, something we don't talk about enough, and I really want to touch on, is bankroll management. One of the things we do at Wager
Thank you.
Talk is we do not sell locks of the year, games of the month, all of these things. We always recommend a 2, 3, 4, or 5% play. Obviously, as VR mentioned, the 4 and 5% are our best bets. So I would like you to touch on, for your potential clients, VR, how you would like them to bet your volume from a bankroll standpoint.
For me, it's pretty simple. The greater the edge, the bigger the bet size. I don't bet size based on whether I'm on a hot streak. I don't bet size based on whether it's a Sunday night football game and I know everybody wants to bet it. So if I make it a big play, they're going to buy it. I deal with guys that want winning stuff. And if I put out a big play, it's because it warrants a big play. If it doesn't, it's a regular bet. The one thing I'm going to tell you is the 1%, 2%, 3%, 4%, 5%, I look at that as a reflection of bet strength. It is not a recommendation of bet size. Not for me. No way. I guarantee you, your risk of ruin is 100% if you bet size in that manner with me. Even though I'm like Kelly said, over the last 365 days, I'm #1 at WagerTalk in profit. But if you bet 5%, 4%, 3%, 2%, 1% of your bankroll on my plays, you're broke. That's impossible. You're not going to be able to overcome the variance. And I learned that when I worked with Advantage Blackjack, because what they tell you as a bettor is you should use the Kelly criteria. You could Google that after this video. That's supposed to be the perfect method of how to bet size correctly based on your edge so that you maximize your profit and never go broke, because you're always betting a percentage of your bankroll based on your edge. So 5% of it, 5% of it, 5% of it, you're just chipping away, adding or subtracting. Here's the problem. If I have a 1-5% play on Saturday, 3% plays, 1-4% play, guess what, guys? We just bet 18% of our bankroll on 5 or 6 plays. Now, what if I have 11 plays? What if there's 5 sports and I have 2 plays on each? You're going to actually put out 20, 30, 40% of your bankroll on one day or one sport? That you're asking to, your risk of ruin is certain. And I don't want that to happen to you. Honestly, I'm not, this isn't a video to discourage anyone. This video should be named Hopium. Like, I'm telling you, you can win, but you're going to have to do it the right way. Like, I want to inject you with the hopium, but do it the right way. And you got to go quarter of that. Just like we did with card counting, the groups that made money as advantage blackjack groups, they either did half Kelly or quarter Kelly, meaning if they were really well funded, they went half Kelly. If they were decently funded, they went quarter Kelly. That's what I would apply to this bankroll. So if it's a 5% play, I'm doing 25% of that. If it's a 4% play, I'm doing 25% of that. If it's a 3% play, I'm doing 25% of that. That's pretty simple to break down. 1% play is 0.25, a 2% play is 0.50, 3%, 0.75, 4%, 1% of your bankroll. And for the big 5% play, we're betting 1.25 of bankroll, since we're going 0.25 of 5%. We're going a quarter of the rating. That's it, a quarter of the rating. So ultimately, you're not putting as much out as you would previously. Now you could overcome that fluctuation. Whether you're betting volume or not, I highly recommend this approach. Again, even if you're only betting 2 plays, if one of them's 5% and the other one's 3%, and you're actually betting 8% of your bankroll on 2 plays, your risk of ruin is up here. Like, it's only a matter of time. You're going to have a lot of good luck and a lot of bad beats go your way to like overcome that and get up to like that 1 or 2 standard deviations above where you should be. And it's going to take a lot of good luck. Otherwise, again, like I said, it's only a matter of time before you lose it. And I don't want to see that, because you don't have to. When you have access to winning information, any winning capper that could beat any particular sport or sports betting overall, they're worth gold to you. but you're going to have to use that correctly. And again, if you're bet sizing incorrectly, your risk of ruin's too high, their information becomes meaningless at that point. Their winning percentage could never be high enough for you to profit. That's just mathematical certainty. And again, I want to see you guys profit because not just myself, there's a lot of good sharp cappers on our site that have some decent value in multiple sports. And you could use this information to profit, but you got to do it correctly, or else again, if you don't use the info correctly, then it's worthless. So for me, that's why I wanted to do these videos. Bore you? I know free picks and breakdown of matchups and games are funner. I know it's not fun plotting and doing graphs and all that stuff, but I promise you guys, this is the work that'll make you a winner. It's not watching, like if you think that last year you watched 5 NFL games and this year you're going to watch 10, and instead of getting 2 preview magazines, you're getting 4 this year, and you're going to get 4 in college, you're going to get 4 in NFL, and you're going to watch all 10 games. You got NFL Network, you got the red zone, you got it all. Dude, all that is a waste of your time and energy. It's all factored into the price. I swear to you, you will get so much more all that time if you just put it into a stat class that'll take you 6 months online. It'll open your eyes to gambling more than you could ever imagine and make some sense. Because again, I want to see you guys profit, dude. I hate seeing people lose money, especially if they don't have to. If I was down the last 365 days, I'd say, you know what, fellas, I'm getting crushed. I apologize for that. And, I'm going to try to turn it around. And I would say, when in doubt, zoom out. Let's look a little further back. I'm up over 2 years, up over 3 years. So let's be optimistic. I would just be honest. But I'm not. I'm up over the last 365 days. I'm up over the last 2 years. I'm up over the last 3 years. And yet I know that out of 100 subscribers, maybe 5 of them made money. Maybe 3 of them are with me. Through the years, I've acquired the ones that have stuck with me. And it's not for me because I'm not going to do this forever. But afterwards, man, like, start approaching it the right way. And I promise you, it'll be a funner, more profitable experience. And everyone will be happier, me included.
I love it. VR just dropping bombs. VR, thank you for hanging out today. If you guys are not following Yanni on Twitter @Greek_gambler, get tons of free videos from him, tons of UFC info. And of course, you can always catch both of us on Bet On It. If you are looking for more videos like this, head over to our WagerTalk YouTube channel.